What's happening, everyone? It's your resident Black Spider-Man, Karabo Mdluli, and yes, we're back. We're back with another episode, first episode of 2021. First of all, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you all are well, healthy, safe. Hope you all had an amazing festive season, and whatever you were able to do in the limited times or limited amount of people that you were able to see. I hope it was fruitful nonetheless. And yeah, this year hopefully is going to be a better one than last year. And I trust that this year art dealers will provide you guys with a nice escape with some nice good content. And we're back with another voicemail episode. As you guys know, I love this format. We'll continue to bring you as many as possible. The goal is at least one per month, one at the end of each month. I think not to oversaturate this format and try and get you guys the usual art dealers content you guys are used to. You're probably, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not seeing my face, hopefully it's not a strange one for you. As you guys know, we've been transitioning nicely into YouTube visually and stuff. But yeah, just thought we'd kind of take it back a bit, back to the usual, focus more on the podcasting side. So this is still up on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, hope you're enjoying the beautiful visuals that I have provided you with. But if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Pandora, wherever you're listening, thanks for coming back. Thanks for always supporting the art dealers, and really do appreciate it. And this year we really do hope to provide more content for you guys. So yeah, so this question, what has 2020 taught you? Having thought about this quite a bit, it's the middle of 2021, it's the middle of January 2021, should I say. So I have kind of given this a lot of thought, and really have taken this into consideration. This was a weird year for me. I think there was a part of me that enjoyed it to a certain degree. But there was also a part of me that didn't really enjoy it, and to be fair, actually struggled with last year. And what I mean by that is, when I think about kind of my highs and lows, I didn't really have one particular highlight. I know a lot of people may have, but to be honest, I really didn't have one thing that stood out as a tremendously amazing thing that happened. But on a similar note, I don't think I had anything that was tremendously bad either. So I'm very grateful for that fact, and can only be grateful that I'm still here. 24 years and kicking. We're strong. We're gonna continue to keep grinding, and I'm grateful for another year. Grateful for my friends, my family. And for all little things. And similar, maybe let me start with my highlights. I think some of the highlights include getting a job. I mean, I got a new job in 2020, which was unbelievable, really. I got it just before our national lockdown here in South Africa, literally a month before. So things were already kind of scary by the time I got my job. There weren't any cases yet in South Africa, but then maybe a couple weeks later, after I started working at my new company, the first few cases started coming, and then it just exponentially started to grow. And then all of a sudden we were in a level 5 lockdown, and what we thought was going to last 21 days turned into almost 3 months of heavy lockdown, and pretty much 6 months of lockdown as a whole. And we're back in some form of lockdown at the moment as well. And I hope whatever country you're listening in, if you're in South Africa, I hope you are all safe, and I hope you're doing what you need to do, staying clear, keeping distance, sanitizing. And these are unprecedented times. We don't know how things are going to look, and I guess it is what it is, man. To those who have lost people last year, I really send my condolences and my prayer to you guys. Thankfully I didn't lose any family members, but I did have family members who contracted the virus. Thankfully they're all okay. But I did have family friends who unfortunately passed away from the virus. So I can empathize with you guys. Maybe not to the same degree, but I certainly know what it's like to have COVID take someone from you. But yeah, I hope you all are doing well. So yeah, that's probably one of my greater highlights. And some of my lowlights, I think I probably struggled more with mental health than I would like to admit. I think I chalked it down to me being tired. It was a busy year. We took pay cuts throughout the year, so I was working way more for way less. And yeah, I think I would say that how I was feeling as far as how down I was just saying that now I'm just tired, now I'm just upset that, pay cuts. But I think this year I'm taking that lesson and acknowledging that, my feelings do matter, and it's okay for me to acknowledge when I'm not doing okay. Not using it as a crutch or anything like that, but not trying to make excuses and allow myself to feel how I need to feel, So those, I would say, are my highs and lows. Like I said, nothing ridiculously bad. And what 2020 taught me as a whole is it taught me to have realistic expectations. I think as all of us did, we planned a lot. We all wanted the year to look a certain way, and unfortunately it didn't, for a lot of us. And for myself, it was one of those things where I wanted to travel, I wanted to do a whole bunch of things, and lockdown happened, and just it was tough. It really was tough. And I think what it taught me is that it taught me to have realistic expectations going forward, and to be honest, to be a bit more present and to live more in the now, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to appreciate the moment that you're in. It's great to have plans and great to have goals, but sometimes it's also good to just be present and enjoy the things around you, the people around you, appreciate where you're at. And I think a lot of people can empathize that. But yeah, enough from me. This is 7 minutes of rambling. You guys didn't deserve all of this. Again, I got a lot of you to send through responses, got some new voices. And again, thank you to everyone who's participating. This is, I really do love this format and just being able to get new voices onto the art dealers, and hopefully we'll continue to get more. Again, we have some international guests, and we managed to secure another musician, Juliane from Canada, from Montreal, Canada. Incredible singer. Her song Letting Go is one of my favorite songs that I've heard in a long time. Absolutely wonderful singer, really cool person as well. I trust I will leave links down below, leave her socials. Please check her out, listen to her music, stream. And thanks to her for sending her response, man. She didn't have to send this random guy in South Africa voice note for this podcast, this like pretty small podcast, but she did, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But hope you guys enjoy, and like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube, share the pod if you are on Spotify. Rate us, give us a 5-star rating if you're on Apple. Share the links. It really does help. And I really do appreciate all of you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy. It's your Resident Black Spider-Man, Karabo, Mdluli, Starboy. Peace out, y'all.
Hey, this is Alina, and I am from Pretoria. Immediately when I think of 2020, my mind is just filled with so many mixed emotions and thoughts and so many memories of the year. I know that 2020 has not been the easiest year for many of us. There has been so many challenges and difficulties, and it's just been a lot mentally, emotionally for most people. However, amidst the chaos and the craziness of what 2020 has been, I think for me personally, I have learned so many valuable lessons throughout the year, and I feel like I needed to learn these lessons now so that it can set me straight on my path or set me straight for the rest of my life. I think one of the most valuable lessons that I have learned or that 2020 has taught me is to learn how to trust again. For most of my life, I have been somebody that likes to be in control, and I like to know what's happening and how everything's happening. I need to have a detailed plan of how I'm going to execute something. And 2020 didn't allow me to execute all my plans successfully, and it bothered me in the beginning. It was extremely hard to accept that not everything will go your way, but it was something that I needed to learn this year, or 2020 at least. I needed to learn how to put my trust in God and not in myself anymore, knowing that He knows best and His plans for my life are better than my plans could ever be, and I don't need to be in control because He's in control. I think when you say that out loud or when it's on paper, it seems easy, but practicing it is a whole different story, because you literally have to learn how to surrender to your daily wants, your daily needs, and be able to commit to what God has told you and to be obedient to what He has said. And I think it's something that is vital in this journey that I'm on, learning how to be more like Jesus, learning how to be more obedient. I think it's something that I really, really needed to learn sooner than later. So despite the craziness and the disappointments and all the anxiety that was filled in 2020, I must say that the lesson of trust is something that I definitely needed to learn, and I am so grateful to have been able to learn it through the year and to be able to have it instilled into my mind, my heart, my being, so that I'm able to execute it now as I move on. So yeah, that's what 2020 has taught me.
Hey beautiful people, my name is Amy and I'm from the mother city Cape Town, and let's start with lowlights. So a lowlight for 2020 was probably my mental health in the first part of the year. Like, I came into the year just in a bad space, and then with the news of COVID and how quick lockdown happened, we lost one of our youth members that was murdered, and it was just like, it started off that way and then it just got worse with the news, people getting infected, people dying, so definitely mental health. But I can't say that like my immediate family was affected financially or health wise or anything, so I'm very, very grateful in that regard. And then highlights is just me, like my mindset changed, how I became more intentional with my walk with God, like seeing the truth of the gospel, how much I need God, how much I'm a sinner and I desperately need Him, and then also building Christian community, like not only locally but globally. In a year where you couldn't connect with people, I'm very, very grateful for forming friendships and community that I know like reciprocates my energy and will be there to support me. I've always been looking for that, and it happened in 2020, so I'm very, very thankful for that. What has 2020 taught me? I would say that if you have not learned it before, then in 2020 is definitely the year where you would have found out that we are not in control. We can't manifest anything. We can't speak things into existence. God is sovereign and He's in control. Like, we might have plans for our lives, and that's not what God wants necessarily. And we need to submit to what He wants for us. And He will use bad situations to get our attention, and get us close to Him. And everything He does is for our ultimate good and His ultimate glory, and that doesn't always look like what we want it to look like. So that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Ella from Johannesburg, and 2020 has definitely taught me a lot. I look at a low light from this year, which was my 20th birthday, being in level 5 lockdown. And even that taught me that, these ideas and plans and expectations that we have can change instantly. And that if you hold on to the expectations you had too tightly, then you'll miss the goodness that actually is happening around you. Because despite my birthday being somewhat lonely, it was still so special because my friends and family made it so special, and I really felt their love and kindness towards me. And that's something that I might not have seen if I was just holding on to the idea of what I thought my 20th birthday would be like. But then I look at a highlight, and that was my brother coming home from America. Despite the lockdowns across the world, despite the travel restrictions, he somehow managed to get home, and I saw him after about a year and a half of not seeing him. And that just taught me that this year was more about our friendships and our families and our connections with people, instead of experiences, instead of, getting things and going places. It was really important to cherish the people around you. And when we finally all got to see each other, we really could see the importance of others in our lives a lot more. So there's definitely been a lot that I've learned, but those are definitely some of the most important things that I've learned in 2020.
Hey, our dealers. My name is Michelle Goitseona Michelle. I am from Pretoria. I currently stay in Pretoria. 2020 has taught me to be more present and also not to get too caught up in an idea. In terms of people, in terms of where I'm going in life, where I want to be, but also just remember to be present. It's taught me to really appreciate people for who they literally are in the moment, and not the idea of who I think they're going to be, or the idea they formed in my mind where they're going, but really just to appreciate them for now. I think it's very important to appreciate and value people for who they are, because if you're with a person, with a friend, family, relationship, romantically, whatnot, it is important to know them for who they are now and not for who you imagine them to be present with them. And a highlight from this year would be really defining my inner circle. I guess my highlight goes hand in hand with my low light. I've come across so many people, and not necessarily new people, but people that have been in my life for a very long time, that now I've defined who gets to be so close to me and gets to know the vulnerable me, because sometimes people would speak death into an idea or my dream, or just really passions that I have. And it's not that they're bad people, but rather they're not the right people to speak into your life, or they're just not on the same path you're on, and they just don't understand you in the way you need to be understood. And that's okay, because we all have our people. But then that takes me back to what I've learned is really appreciating people for who they are, because honestly, everything can break once you feel like you knew a person, but you only knew them for the idea, and they never get to be that idea you thought they would be, or they are. A lot can break from that. So appreciating now. A low light was really just having the wrong people in my life, and that put my mental health at a risky place. And mental health is a continuous struggle. There's no instruction manual to how we deal with pain, because we've always been taught, You know, when you're hurt, cover the wound up. It'll heal. Just cover it up. Or like you're crying, don't cry, everything's gonna be okay. But really immersing yourself in the pain and feeling it, but with time, knowing that this too shall pass, it's a learning process. It's just learning. You know, in order to know how to do something, you just have to go through it and not over it. Well, that's me. Thank you, Adilas.
Hi there, my name is Isla Henry and I'm currently living in the UK. What 2020 taught me was to really appreciate the small things, so the time that I have with my family, just to enjoy like things that we never got to enjoy when life was so busy, like going out for walks and all those sorts of things. A highlight for the year is definitely the fact that I got to spend so much time with my family. And a low light of the year is definitely the fact that I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my friends.
Yo, what's up? This is Jabulani from Johannesburg, South Africa. In reply to your question of what did 2020 teach me, I think that's still a ongoing answer. The more and more I look back and the more I mature on a mental and emotional level, the more I learn and get different gems from the year itself. I think from the face level, everyone can agree it was a horrible year, but I believe that in dark seasons, it's always a season for growth, maturity, and there's always gems in the bad days, you know. And I think we just see dark times as sad times, you know, and which they are. But I believe that everyone grew to a certain extent in 2020, and I think that I have a lot of personal lessons from 2020. 2020 firstly taught me I can't plan everything. It taught me that I can't be in control of life. It wasn't really a lesson, it was just a reminder that I can't rule life. I can't dictate what happens tomorrow as much as I can plan and strategize for what I'd like my next 5 years to look like. There's only so far that I can plan, you know. I think with COVID things changed in a matter of days and weeks, and I think that was a reality check on my behalf. And in that, learning to live and embrace the here and now. I think there's such peace in just appreciating where you're at right now, you know, like someone who's listening to this right now, appreciating that you're living and you're breathing, and the fact that you're hearing this, at least one thing is going well in life, you know. And just appreciating the small things that we tend to overlook when life was normal, you know. Like something like friendships, for example, not being able just to drive and go see my friend and hang out until all hours of the day, and just being in public without wearing a mask, just going about how life normally was, you know. And it's honestly insane. And just appreciating the people that you didn't think were your close friends but actually are the true friends, you know. And I think I learned that in 2020 as well, that there's a lot of people that I didn't think we were as close as I thought we were, you know. So just not taking friendship for granted, you know, and appreciating the small things. And and I think for another personal one for me, on a spiritual and religious basis. I think just knowing that God is in it, no matter what the circumstance, He is there in the beginning and the end. And me just learning to lean on Him and not do things in my own power, because clearly I have none, that was another lesson, or should I say reminder, of life. I think I can go on and on for long. I'm sure people are tired of hearing my voice by now, but I think just as an encouragement to people, even though you didn't ask for an encouragement, but don't look at last year as a horrible year. Just see it as a year of growth and turnover, and us being grateful that we made it through. A lot of people didn't, and I think just appreciating the fact that we were able to make it into another year, and just live to see another day, which presents new opportunities, and that doesn't mean doing the biggest things in life, just appreciating and loving those around us is what really matters at the end of the day, and the impact that we leave on people. And I think that's what 2020 taught me. It's all about the impact that we leave on each other, and man, cool.
Hi fellow dealers, my name is Jason. I'm from Zimbabwe. I've lived in South Africa for the past 11 years till 2019, and now I've lived in the UK for the past year. What has 2020 taught me? I'd say it's really taught me the importance of balance, and I think that was specifically highlighted by 2020 being such a roller coaster year, being uncomfortable in so many ways for so many people. And that balance really could relate to your work life, your personal life, your studies, your health in some cases. So I think that's something that was really highlighted by 2020, that we need to be intentional about restoring our equilibrium. And since balance is such a personal thing, and it could be different for each person, 2020 really showed how important it is to be intentional about re-establishing that equilibrium. And that involves doing what you can, doing the best you can in any situation, because that's really all we're asked to do. And I think it also highlighted the importance of perspective. I'm going to use a basketball analogy, and when you take a 3-point shot, you take a step back to get a good look. I think 2020, because of all the things that happened, including the isolation that most of the world found itself throughout parts of the year, we were separated, and in that separation, we got a chance, at least if we used it, to get a good look, to get a good shot. So I think with all that being said, it highlighted the importance of balance, being intentional about re-establishing your equilibrium, taking a step back to get a good perspective, and more importantly, refocusing and reprioritizing, because guess what? That's all we can do.
Hey, my name is Josh, and I live in Johannesburg at the moment. And for me, something I learned from 2020, or something that stood out to me from 2020, was maybe just an aspect of learning to be content, where work didn't turn out at all like I thought it would be. I got married in 2020, and that didn't turn out at all like I thought it would be. But through it all, it wasn't so bad. Like, work wasn't what I thought it would be, but it turned out being more than quite alright. And I had great people around me, and I did manage to get married. So yeah, I'd say an element of contentedness with whatever comes my way. And a highlight for the year would definitely be getting married. Lindy Marais now, shout out. And then a low light would be missing out on seeing family, for sure. I think it's been a big one for a lot of people, but yeah, low light for 2020 is definitely not seeing family.
Hi, my name is Julian, and I'm from Montreal, Canada. 2020 made me focus on what really matters in life, I guess. My family, my loved ones, people with good and positive energy. It made me enjoy the present and live in the moment, which I was having a hard time doing because I'm always running around doing a bunch of things at the same time. And I guess I took the time to reflect on my purpose and what I can bring to the people around me to make them feel good and make them feel joy. I guess I started to live as if it was my last day. I know it sounds cliche, but it's so true, because we cannot buy health, we cannot buy time. So I don't want to take anything for granted anymore. And I guess 2020 made me sit back, breathe, and reflect.
Hi, it's Luale from Johannesburg, and I'm about to tell you guys the lessons that I learned from 2020. I think the main thing that stood out to me about this year is that we have to value the connections that we have with the people in our lives. I was forced to kind of be alone in lockdown, as we all were. And so those few moments where I got to be social and I got to see the people that I loved were amazing. And I think 2020 has taught me to really, really appreciate and value being able to be around people, talk to people, learn about them, grow with them, share experiences and share memories. And if I'm gonna dive into my highs and lows of the year, I guess I'll start with my lows. The low would just have to be learning to come to terms with being still and doing nothing and being alone, you know? There were times when I was just so bored and so lonely and I felt so stagnant. I felt like my life wasn't moving forward in any way. And I really had to dig deep and try and nurture my mental health as much as possible, but it was tough. And then on a more positive note, my highs were that I took a huge risk this year and decided to take on a full-time freelance career. I work as a freelance writer, journalist, and creator. And somehow this year I've managed to make that work. And it's a risk I never would have taken had it been any other year. But I think just being stuck at home with nothing but my laptop and a connection to the internet, I was like, let's do this, let's freelance. And now I know how feasible it is, now I know how possible it is, and it's something I'm going to be doing probably for the rest of my career. So that's been absolutely amazing. But my final note for 2020, as it comes to a close, is I want everyone to take time out of their day to really just think about all the things they're grateful for and really just dwell on those positive memories from 2020. And even though it was a wild year, give yourself time to think about what actually went right this year, because there were a lot of things that did go right. So yeah, that's me. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Hi, I'm Megan from Johannesburg, South Africa. 2020 taught me that you can't expect God to be the source of your peace if the world is the source of your satisfaction. 2020 was a very heavy yet hollow year for me. And I realized that when I focus on Jesus and spend more time in his presence, the more peaceful I feel. And the more I allow my thoughts to be consumed by worldly things, the more anxious I feel. My low this year was definitely when my brother was in a car accident. It was a very traumatic day and he almost lost his life. Thankfully, he's fine now, but that was very traumatic. And the highlight of my year is probably now looking back at everything I've gone through and just seeing God's hand in every situation. It's made me very grateful for all the people in my life.
Hi, so my name is Nontando and I am from Cape Town, also known as Nomi. That's a nickname that most people prefer. So basically, yeah, from Cape Town. And well, what has 2020 taught me? Firstly, the year 2020 has taught me to firstly be, more intentional about just life intentional about the way I would like to really lead my life, and in all aspects, for me, it's always been great to be intentional about my relationships, about the work I do, anything that I really commit myself to. It's important, and it's always really been important for me to just make sure I'm intentional about it. And in that sense, it always helps me to go back and say, okay, what is the why of A, B, and C, and also with intentionality, then it comes with being purposeful, and that's how I manage to sort of keep myself accountable to my values and principles. And basically 2020 really amplified my understanding and gave me greater and deeper understanding and meaning to what it means to be content and to be grateful. So contentment and gratitude for really every life situation, and really understanding what it means to be present in the moment that you may be in, so the now, and just really appreciating the nuances of life. So that's what it's been for me. And lastly, it's also brought such great understanding to who I am, and really just building my confidence, and just again understanding my why and being accountable, and also unlearning things. It's not always easy, but I really appreciate the process. So yep, that's what it's in a nutshell, what it's taught me. And so my highs and lows, let me start with the lows. I wouldn't say there's much lows, but basically it was when COVID came into place, and then lockdown came into place, so we obviously couldn't go out and do anything. So the low was the fact that I couldn't explore or be adventurous in the new setting and new environment that I'm in. So in connection to that, let me explain why. To my high is beginning of the year, straight out of varsity, I just packed my bags and relocated to a whole new province, which is Cape Town, my new home, and that has been my highlight. I love it so much. It's brought so much clarity and healing for me and my journey. And it's just been great. New environment, new people, new everything. So the change, a lot of change, which was quite daunting, but I really do appreciate it. So that's my highlight. Highlight again, I made it a point, or it was like one of the things I had to do was to really start yoga and try it out for what it really is. And oh my word, best thing ever. I'm so glad I actually ended up doing it and starting it. So those are my highs. And the reason why I don't really have lows is because the way I see life and the things we go through, we're on a journey, and within that journey we go through shifts and processes throughout our life's journey. And really, I always choose to look at things in a positive light, or solution light, or understanding the why to whatever it is that's happened. So it's just, again, really appreciating and having that understanding and wisdom of what's happened, why it's happened, and all right, let's move forward. It's always just seeing how does this really work for my good? Because I see that's how things are really curated and done in life. All things do work for your good. So it's always again, the nuances of life, the nuances of the process of your journey of this life that we've been blessed with. So that is my 2 cents on how 2020 was for me. And yeah, all the best for 2021 to everybody. You know, love and light, happiness, positive vibes, always.
Hello, my name is Sarah Ann Griffiths. I am a student living and studying in Cardiff, Wales. However, I am originally from Johannesburg in the wonderful country of South Africa. So I will be sharing what the crazy year 2020 taught me. First and foremost, I think it's really important to say that this was not an easy year for me and millions of other people. Understandably, we had a pandemic, social distancing, isolation, away from friends and family, deteriorated mental health, the sickness of so many people around us, struggles, change, unhappiness, all on top of just trying to survive, trying to be sufficient human beings. I struggled. 2020 was not my year, needless to say. However, when I think back on it, I think of it in fondness, purely because 2020 taught me to pay attention, to appreciate the small things, appreciate those around me, and the efforts that they put into wanting to be in my life. I can confidently say it was the first time in my life I've really wanted to see the good in others. I wanted to feel like life had meaning in the small things. When everything was taken away from us, all the joys of life, like going to shops and fancy coffee and going to the cinema, when all the goodness was taken away, what did I have left? What were the things that brought me joy? So when I think back on 2020, I recognize that was the lens I was looking at it through. How can I get through my life and still feel happy? How can I get through this crazy year and not feel like I failed? So I think the greatest lesson I've learned from 2020 that I plan on taking into the rest of my life, to be honest, is appreciating the small things, not getting wrapped up in a crazy wild future and expectations and pressure to be perfect, but rather soak in the small stuff. And 2020 was a year of appreciating the good where goodness didn't seem to be found.
Hi, I'm Zanele from Johannesburg North, Rivonia to be specific. And what has 2020 taught me? Well, 2020 has actually taught me a few things. The first one being that you are in charge of your own happiness, and also the importance of living in the now. Because previously I've been always telling myself that if this happens, I'll be happy, then I'll be happy in the future. But if you're really not happy in the moment, how are you to say that in the future you'll be happy? So I've just been practicing trying to be happy in the present moment. It's also shown me, because of all the bad things that are happening to everyone, that it is literally not only you, and you can't go into life with a victim mindset. You have to understand everyone's going through something, and you can't just tell everyone your problems. Really, you should also learn to deal with them through yourself. And through the other thing that I've learned recently is coming back to Christ and finding God again, because there was a time where I was just so confused with everything and I tried to believe in nothing. But 2020 has really taught me that you really can't. Like, you do need God, because there's some problems that nobody can solve and that you can't tell anyone about besides God. So that's what I've learned, how to be happy, and that happiness is in you, and to live in the now, and also that God is very, very important. I have also learned about starting things, because this year I started a couple things, and I also learned that even though they aren't big at the moment, God is pleased when you start something. The lowlights of this year was just losing friendships that I thought would last forever, losing relatives, just mental health declining, and just, 2020 was an L, but on the highlight, I made a lot of music and I changed the meaning of the music that I've been making. So it really does tackle more on mental health, and talking about real issues, like besides things about love. So yeah, that's really a highlight of what I learned. And I also launched my own podcast. Hopefully Karabo is going to feature on mine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There was some highs, there was some lows. 2020 was a year I want to forget, but also an unforgettable year.
Yes. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed to this month's episode of Voicemails. I hope you all that listen enjoyed it. And please feel free to send through any questions you think you want to hear from people. If you're keen to be involved in the next round of questions, I'll make sure to send through the prompt. And please feel free to message me, message the Art Dealers page, and would love to have you involved. Again, thank you to everyone who contributed. You guys are all amazing people, sensational people. And yeah, we're going to be producing more content this year. And like I said, I hope this year is better than last year. And I hope you all are keeping safe. Pray that you guys have a really good year. Hope this year of January, that's finally over. Thank you, Lord. I hope that it didn't affect you too much, and I hope your bank balances are finally recovered from the December and January period. But yeah, Tarryn Davids, Spider-Man, Karabo, Mdluli, Starboy, you know who it is. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out.